Have you ever caught yourself talking out loud when no one else was around? Not whispering, not rehearsing a speech, just talking. Maybe while washing the dishes, maybe while driving, maybe while lying in bed staring at the ceiling. And for a split second, you wondered, is this normal? Because somewhere along the way, many of us absorbed a quiet rule. Talking to yourself means something is wrong. We picture someone pacing a room, arguing with invisible people. We don't picture the ordinary moments, the soft self-encouragement before a hard task, the quiet, okay, let's think this through, the gentle, why did I say that? But here's the truth. Most people never say out loud. Talking to yourself is one of the most human things you do. You have a mind that thinks, a body that feels, and an identity that is constantly forming. Of course, there is dialogue inside that. The real question isn't whether you talk to yourself, it's how. Because not all self-talk feels the same. Sometimes it sounds like a coach. Sometimes it sounds like a criticism. Sometimes it sounds like a child trying to make sense of the world. And sometimes it sounds like two parts of you are negotiating. I should do it, but I'm tired. Just 5 minutes. Okay. That isn't madness, that's self-regulation. When you talk to yourself, you are doing something smart and powerful. You are turning raw emotion into language, and language creates space. Think about the difference between feeling anxious and saying, I'm anxious. The feeling is overwhelming. The sentence is contained. When you speak to yourself, even softly, you step slightly outside the emotion. You observe it, you shape it, you hold it. It's almost like becoming your own witness. And being witnessed, even by yourself, changes how something feels. Children do this naturally. They narrate everything. I'm building a tower. Now the red one goes here. Oh no, it fell. They aren't performing, they're organizing their experience.
As adults, we were taught to quiet that voice. Be composed, be silent, keep it in your head. But the mind doesn't stop narrating. It just moves the conversation inward. And sometimes when it comes back out, we judge ourselves for it. Yet talking to yourself is often a sign that your brain is trying to process something. When a problem feels tangled, we speak it out loud to untangle it. When a decision feels heavy, we verbalize it to hear it differently. There's something about sound that makes thought clearer. Inside your head, everything overlaps. Out loud, it becomes linear. Beginning, middle, end. You can hear contradictions. You can notice tone. You can catch exaggerations. And sometimes you hear the harshness in your own voice. That's when self-talk reveals something deeper, because how you talk to yourself is often how you were once spoken to. If you grew up around criticism, your inner voice might be sharp. If you grew up around chaos, your inner voice might be anxious. If you grew up around emotional distance, your inner voice might be quiet, almost absent. Self-talk isn't random, it carries history. But here's where it becomes powerful. When you speak to yourself consciously, you create a chance to reshape that history. Not by forcing positivity, not by pretending everything is fine, but by shifting tone. Instead of, you always mess this up, maybe it becomes, that didn't go how I want it. Instead of, what's wrong with you, maybe it becomes, what happened there? The words matter because they influence identity. If your inner dialogue constantly tells you that you are incapable, your nervous system begins to brace for failure. If your inner dialogue tells you that you are allowed to learn, your body relaxes just enough to try again. Talking to yourself is not just commentary, it's guidance, and sometimes it's comfort. Have you ever noticed that during stressful moments, you instinctively say things like, it's okay, you've handled worse, just breathe? That's not a weakness, that's self-soothing.
It's the adult part of you trying to calm the overwhelmed part. We don't often realize how many parts live inside us. The driven one, the scared one, the perfectionist, the tired one, the hopeful one. When you talk to yourself, you're often mediating between them. You're trying to create internal safety. And safety is not silence. Safety is clarity. Sometimes people worry that talking to themselves means they're lonely, but often it means they're reflective. There's a difference. Loneliness feels like emptiness. Self-conversation feels like engagement. In fact, people who can speak to themselves kindly often tolerate solitude better, because they're not alone with a hostile voice. They're alone with an understanding one. But here's something clever. Talking to yourself can also become a way to avoid something. If you replay conversations repeatedly, if you argue with imaginary versions of people, if you narrate your mistakes over and over, sometimes that's not processing, it's rumination. And rumination feels different. It's repetitive, circular, tight. Instead of moving you forward, it keeps you stuck in the same emotional loop. The difference between healthy self-talk and rumination is movement. Healthy self-talk leads somewhere. Rumination goes nowhere. One creates clarity, the other creates tension. But even rumination isn't something to shame. It's usually your mind trying to regain control. When something feels unresolved, your brain keeps replaying it, hoping this time you'll land on the perfect response, the perfect explanation, the perfect defense. It's a protective mechanism. It just doesn't always work. So again, the question isn't, is it normal to talk to myself? The question becomes, what is my self-talk trying to do? Is it organizing, soothing, encouraging, protecting, or is it stuck? Most behaviors make sense when you understand the emotional need underneath them. Self-talk is no different. Sometimes it's about identity. When you say, "I'm not the kind of person who gives up," you are reinforcing who you believe yourself to be. When you say, "I always ruin things," you are reinforcing that too. The sentences you repeat slowly become part of your self-image, and identity shapes behavior. If you see yourself as capable, you approach challenges differently. If you see yourself as fragile, you protect yourself differently. So talking to yourself isn't just noise, it's narrative. And humans live by narrative. We need a story that explains who we are. Without one, everything feels chaotic. So we create meaning through words, sometimes quietly, sometimes out loud. And here's something people rarely admit. Talking to yourself can feel relieving because it slows you down. When thoughts are only in your head, they race. When you speak them, they must follow your breath, and breath regulates your nervous system. So smartly, self-talk can calm you simply by pacing your thinking. That's why people mutter instructions during difficult tasks. Okay, first this, then that. Don't rush. They are grounding themselves, bringing focus back to the present. There's also something intimate about hearing your own voice. It reminds you that you exist in a physical space, that your thoughts have sound, that your experience is real. Sometimes, especially during overwhelming periods, that reminder matters. You are not just a swirl of thoughts, you are a person speaking. But let's talk about the fear underneath the question. When someone asks, is it normal to talk to yourself, what they're often really asking is, am I okay? Because no one wants to feel disconnected from what's considered stable. We want reassurance that our inner world isn't strange. And the truth is, inner worlds are always complex. What would actually be unusual is having no internal dialogue at all. A silent mind is not the default. A mind that reflects is. A mind that negotiates is. A mind that narrates is.
That's how we learn. That's how we regulate. That's how we grow. The key isn't eliminating self-talk. It's becoming aware of its tone. Imagine treating your inner voice like someone you have to live with for the rest of your life, because you do. Would you want them to be sarcastic and cruel? or calm and curious. You can't always control the first thought, but you can shape the second one. The first voice might say, "You embarrassed yourself." The second voice can say, "That felt uncomfortable, but you survived." That second voice is where emotional maturity lives. It doesn't deny pain, it contextualizes it. And over time, that shift changes how you experience yourself. Talking to yourself also builds boundaries. When you say, "I don't like how that felt," you validate your own emotional signals. When you say, "I need a break," you acknowledge limits. Without self-dialogue, boundaries stay blurry because you never articulate what you need. Sometimes people who never talk to themselves struggle to understand what they're feeling. Everything stays abstract, unspoken. And unspoken emotions tend to leak out sideways, in irritability, in withdrawal, in tension. Language gives emotions direction. It helps them move through you rather than settle inside you. So yes, it's normal to talk to yourself. But more than that, it's meaningful. It reveals how you treat yourself when no one is watching. It reveals what you believe about yourself. It reveals how safe you feel inside your own mind. And maybe that's the deeper invitation here. Not to ask whether it's normal, but to listen more closely to what you're saying. Because somewhere in those quiet sentences, there's a pattern, a tone, a belief. And that belief might have been formed long ago, before you had words for it. Now you do. And when you speak to yourself with awareness, you're not being strange, you're being intentional. You're participating in your own development. You're becoming both the speaker and the listener. And maybe that's what growth really is. Not silence, not perfection, but a gentler conversation inside your own head. So the next time you catch yourself whispering through a problem, or encouraging yourself before something hard, or even replaying a mistake, pause. Not to judge, but to notice. Notice the tone. Notice the intention. Notice whether your voice feels like pressure or support. Because in the end, talking to yourself isn't about being alone. It's about a relationship. The longest relationship you will ever have is the one you have with your own mind. And maybe the goal isn't to quiet that voice. Maybe it's to make it a place you feel safe returning to. After all, if you're going to be listening to yourself for the rest of your life, it might matter how you speak.